And this is what we keep telling many of them. You just come into a country, you buy a business, you don't go through all the laws. You go through only law of contract. You don't go through the labor laws. You don't go to ILO conventions and protocols. And you want to manage machines, money, and the men are the least of value in your chain. It's not possible. So that is why we are trying to engage them that, look, man, there are people who are supposed to handle your machine. There are people who are supposed to manage your money and ensure that your work works well.
But they know that because they bought the company. They didn't buy it to lose. So they have to structure it in a way that will make profit. It's a business.
It's a business, beautiful. And you know, some businesses have some social implications. That way it's not like every other business. I agree with you. Okay, fine. Every business survives. If I don't want to buy Lux, I can buy Joy. Sorry, you understand? I can buy any other product. But unlike public utilities, where there are no alternatives, but very expensive alternatives, can you compare the commodity called light to even the one by the generator? In terms of, is it the discomfort? Is it the money you have to spend? So when you talk about business, sometimes some businesses must have a lot of human face.
What is the current situation now? Because we understand you were part of those who were also disengaged.
Well, since they have called back the committee to work, we believe that the committee will still go ahead and go through the documents, and at the end of the day make recommendations to the principals of all parties involved, and then maybe they will arrive at a acceptable conclusion, which is what I pray and look forward to in the interest of all those who are disengaged. And I know, as a responsible organization, if there's a tripartite agreement, my union will keep to it.
Well, we know that there are efforts to ensure that the main fences and sort all of this out, but for the background purposes so that people will understand.
Yeah.
Is it that Labour is saying that these companies have no right to sack members?
Labour has not said so, and Labour cannot say so. But Labour is saying that, yes, they are claiming there was a transparent process, and we have seen documents, but we have also seen issues of just, I don't like your face. We have seen envy and jealousy, and these are people who have kept the business going. It doesn't work that way, because the government paid some people severance, and then you met them on the job, and you just tell them, they have paid you, go away. You are riding big car, go away. I mean, it doesn't work that way in the workplace. For God's sake, these are people who have experience.
So the management cannot decide and say, well, it's my company. I mean, with due respect, if I don't owe you anything, could you, if we're trying to right size?
Oh, beautiful.
They can't do that. Is that what Labour is saying?
Labour did not say so.
But
Labour did not say that. Labour did not. Yes, see, let me also tell you, Chamberlain, the person who is saying look at your face is also an employee anyway, even if it represents the owners of the company. Let us get it also right. Secondly, if I know there are certain conditions you have laid down and I have not breached them, for God's sake, I know there are parameters you use to measure people, and at least I am above peers in terms of performance, I will feel bad. Do you understand?
And there's a way to address that, which is in the industrial court.
Beautiful.
So why is it that Labour doesn't like going to industrial court? That's the impression people have.
Let me tell you one beautiful thing. You see, the industrial court is like a home to Labour. It was established for Labour.
So why don't they go to their home?
But do you know, even at the industrial court, they will always encourage you to amicably settle, because the industrial court believes a lot in harmonious working environment and working relationship, and that's why I love the place. I have been to the industrial court many a times, and I enjoyed the way they handle cases in the industrial court. Do you understand? Labour doesn't hate going to the industrial court at all. Labour cannot hate it. But you see, sometimes, like they say about litigation, if you take me to court, it is difficult for me to come back and we can re-establish relationship immediately. But if we are able to amicably settle, either by mediation, conciliation, or even arbitration, you discover that at the end of the day, the relationship kind of synchronizes quicker.
I am just wondering though, if because we've seen so many altercations between the Nigerian Union of Electricity Workers and especially Ikeja Electric. Ikeja Electric, you're the same, is always in the news with the Nigerian Union of Electricity Workers, and you have to ask if this is the only company. I'm wondering at the end of the day if you can actually say that there will be a harmonious working relationship between the workers there and the management of the company at the end of the day. Do you think that is possible?
Very, very possible.
You think so?
Very, very possible. See, let me tell you, thank you. You said Ikeja Electric, and you wonder if this is the only company. And I think there are about 11 discos in Nigeria, if I'm not wrong. Yesterday, we were in a meeting with one disco, and you needed to see the level of understanding. The Ikeja Electric, I just want to say maybe there are issues of misunderstanding, even on their part, in terms of handling industrial and labor relations. And with time, if they agree to learn, there will be harmonious.
That's not because you are the deputy president of the NUEE and you work in Ikeja Disco. That's not the reason why they've been in the news so many times for union issues.
No. Can I tell you something? I have been national auditor of the union since 2011, and since they took over in 2013, I have been in Ikeja Electric and asked them. I have never for one day even allowed staff to protest in Ikeja. I've always helped to maintain situations, and as far as I know, we feel bad if I work in a place and then there's always a crisis in that environment. Sometimes questions will be asked, does it mean that even the senior man, I'm the most senior union official in Ikeja Electric and the most senior union official as far as the southern zone of the union is. So I should be proud that in my company there is harmonious working relationship.
So if that is the case, why is it that you're not worried that this Carthage or these people that decides to protest again have chosen Ikeja Disco as the place where they're going to, as I've said, they're not the only company in Lagos. There's Eco Electric. Why are they not protesting?
But you heard me now say something. You remember I said this is just the first amongst the discos they are going to protest. So if Ikeja Electric can even handle them properly and engage them, they will not only be sorting their own problem out, they'll be helping the others.
Okay.
Yes.
Does this cutting, do they have rights to picket?
They did not picket this.
I know.
Yes, picket. I just explained to you, like the director of trade union said, picketing is restricted to trade unions.
Do they have the right to prevent workers from going to work?
I think you should ask cartel officials.
No, we should ask you. You are aware of what protest and picketing
the rules I know is the rules guiding labor picketing.
You know that there's a difference between picketing and protest.
Yes,
do they have the right as protesters to stop?
I'm still going to take a lecture from the director of trade unions, because she was the one who lectured us just Tuesday.
I think that the consumers of electricity should actually ask some very strong questions. If every time there is a protest, they are the ones who bear the brunt, there are serious questions to definitely ask as to what exactly is going on.
But the people out there, are they not consumers of electricity too? They are.
That's the question. So if they are speaking on behalf of everybody else, we should ask questions as to whether or not they have a right as protesters to prevent people from going to work.
Well, maybe I will advise you.
From your knowledge of protests, do you think that they have a right to stop people from going to work?
Well, they did not stop people from my own knowledge of protest, and that is what always happens in protest. People on their own avoid danger. Just like I said, sometimes you don't want to expose yourself to danger, because some of these guys, there are responsible people, and there are some people who are just there because they have an opportunity to join a mob or bandwagon, and you don't know their intent.
So you say your workers have avoided going to work because they are afraid of danger?
I even think the management told them that if they should avoid going to work.
The management told them that?
Yes, when the protest started also.
There was a circular to that effect?
I think so. I've heard people say so.
But you worked there. You didn't see any circular, did you?
You just said it that I was disengaged. So for now...
What reason was given for you why they disengaged you?
They said assessment. and,
You didn't pass
and
the
competency test. But
That's-
but there was no competency, there was no assessment. They didn't give us exam now. That's what I just told you now.
So when are you meeting next?
Well, they have said the committee can reconvene on Monday, and the venue they will decide later, or not within their premises.
If you were to advise, did you think it's a good idea for Pt.2 to continue with this one, especially when you're negotiating with the disco, so that they don't have a wrong impression that maybe some of your members are stoking this behind the scenes?
Well, if I may advise, like I earlier said, if the management engages Pt.2, I know Pt.2 will listen, and they can begin to sort the problems Pt.2 has listed out. I saw their flyer with the MD of Ikeja Electric in Abuja. That apart, ours is, we have always wanted them to come back to the table. Let us discuss and sort out issues between us. And then other issues that are also contained in our earlier complaints will be discussed and sorted out. And everybody works.
What about the issues surrounding TCN? Are you aware of that?
Oh, TCN.
Yes.
Because the plan, yeah.
TCN. See, the federal government handed over power companies to private investors in November 2013. And from then till now, they've been settling people who were disengaged from these companies. And it is so disheartening that as we speak, about over 3,000 people are yet to be paid, who are in their houses languishing. The unions have said, don't liquidate the vestiges of the former PACN where these records are stored in, so that at the appropriate time after payment, you can go ahead and, if you like, close up the places. But the Ministry of Power said no, that they will transfer, they will do this. And the union said no, allow us to have where we can always go to when we have complaints about these issues. And the Ministry of Power said no, that they want to liquidate anything PACN, they want to take over the former PACN offices where all records are stored. And when the PAMSEC Power came, he has attempted thrice to take over the place. The unions resisted, said, please, let us sort out these outstanding issues. Even if there were over 50-something thousand people to be paid, and you paid 50, my money is not your money. Your money cannot be his money. If you pay me, I'll use my money. But the man who has not been paid for about 3 years is suffering. And the next thing they did was to go and bring trucks of policemen to block the place.
Is that affecting TCN? Because you know the TCN is still under the control of the federal government.
Yeah.
The office that was blocked is the headquarters of TCN in Nigeria. That is where the system controls is coordinated all over the country.
So they've told members, your union has told members of TCN not to go to work.
The management of TCN are not going to work. As I speak to you, there was a committee that was supposed to meet in that office just yesterday. They could not meet because the management told them that they cannot meet. They are not going to work. So it's not a union, it's government that blocked TCN offices.
Do you think that's part of why we are not having electricity supply?
I saw light today now. Maybe it's just peculiar to your area. I mean, I had light.
So that's why you're a union member. You have light and the rest of us don't.
Well, as I was coming to, it was yanked off. You know,
this is generator. That's what we use.
See, let me tell you, you already know that the light is being apportioned. There's always load shedding. We don't have enough. You heard the minister saying we were generating 5,000. Now it's falling to about 3,000 plus. And that what was not enough in the first place, now you have to share the little that's available. So we all know it's a...
But it's clear union activities also have its impact on this kind of scenarios. All right, Christian Omoneh is a Deputy President South of National Union of Electricity Employees. Thank you for coming on this morning.